Hey everybody, it's Greg Rice. We're here in downtown Pawtucket at Chatterton Insurance with our Vice President, Ms. Bintou Chatterton.
Good morning.
Good morning, Bintou.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. And I have no questions planned at all. I'm going to take this conversational, informal, and I just want you to kind of tell us about your background.
Well, where do I start? So I came here in 1998 and I couldn't speak English. So I had to, yes, and I had to take ESL classes at Johnson & Wales. And I had to do that within a year, basically. When you first come as an international student, you have to take a class within a year. So I was able to accomplish that in 6 months. Reason being, I was just highly motivated to speak English. Because when I first arrived, like I said, I couldn't speak English. And when I get in the bus, people would want to have a conversation with me. And I was always like, what? Excuse me. And the conversation wasn't flowing. And I felt like inadequate. I felt like I was an idiot. And so it was interesting. So I said, no, I am not going to spend a year learning this language. I am going to study it in 6 months.
Quick.
Yes, I'm going to do it quick in 6 months. And I did in 6 months learn English. Then I moved on to continue with my degree.
So where did you move here from? What country?
Well, that's also very interesting. My dad was an expat in Central Africa, in a country called Gabon, and he was a math professor there. So I came from Gabon to Rhode Island, but my country of origin is Mali.
Gotcha, okay.
That's where I was born, but didn't really grow up there. And then he was an expat in the 1980s, and we stayed there until the 2000.
Wow. And what made you want to move here? What was like your biggest kind of thought, or I'm going to USA because of this?
Well, when you're a young person in Africa, America is like as they call it, the El Dorado, the dreamland.
Gotcha.
And at the beginning, it was just for fun for me. My first trip to the US was in 1995. I came for a summer vacation, and I had a couple of bucks with me, and I started purchasing goods, hair stuff for my girlfriends at school, some clothes, some hip stuff, and I go back and then sell them. So it was just like a summer vacation kind of fun. Then that turned out to be a good thing for me. I learned and I saw it, and I was very impressed. It was a different background, and it was hustling and bustling. I stayed in New York City, and it was, let's just say, it was a positive feedback that I received, and I went back and I was like, let me do it again. So I repeated a couple of times, and I was making decent amount of money doing just the traffic back and forth. Back then I hadn't graduated from high school, so when I graduated high school, that was my last summer because I had to apply to some European schools, because that's where you either stay home or you go to Morocco or France or Germany and all that. So you apply to those different schools. But United States was not in my list, even though I had been coming.
Really?
Yes, it was not. Because traveling back and forth, I realized it was expensive. Because I said in New York City, even just to breathe, you spend money. And that was back then, and it just wasn't in my plan. But again, at the time, my experience was just New York City. So then the last year I came, someone said, why don't you go inside the country? Because they're less expensive than New York City. I said, I never really thought of that. And then they suggested Philadelphia, Rhode Island, Connecticut. And so then I started calling a few people that I know in those states. And they said, oh, come on down, sure, no problem. So again, I came for a business, and then you have conversation with people and I took advantage of it. I did go to Philadelphia. I applied to Drexel University there. And I came also to Rhode Island. I had an uncle that lived in Pawtucket with his wife, and she was going to Brown University studying for a PhD. And she guided me. She took me on the trip. We went to URI, Brown University, Roger Williams, and Johnson & Wales. So of all these schools, cost was an effect, but Johnson & Wales had a program for international students. because they had a whole department dedicated for us, and they made it efficient for us too. So it was really impressive, and they just made it easy for me. But she said, you know, if you're really interested, I would love to have you over. If you can get me these paperwork, I'm happy to work on this for you. So now my parents have no idea this is something I'm doing in the background. I'm here supposedly on a business trip.
And you're concocting this plan to move.
To move, exactly. So because this was my last trip, when you go back to college, to university.
Well, that's a good point, because it's easier to seek forgiveness usually than permission.
Exactly.
So to get it all lined up, you move here and then say,
yeah. And so she goes, you just need to give me a school grid report, translate them, or if you can't do it, we have someone who can do that. So really, she laid out what I needed to do, and I knew I could get them. So what do? She said, if you can get those to me within a certain time frame, you will be able to enroll for the fall. Unfortunately, like I said, I was not prepared for the fall, and so I went home. Now, the wheels are turning in my head. I go home, I sell my goods, and I go, well, I'm not really ready yet to go to college, but I think I'm going to take another trip to the U.S. Now I get the paperwork that's required of me, put it all together, and scan it ahead of time to my aunt that was here, and have her translate everything and put it, and get it ready and then put it into the school for me. So then I took a second round and coming back. So I needed to be here physically to do certain things. And she said, you know, cross your finger, if we get everything in time, you might be able to go back with your I-20 back then that was required in order to apply for a visa. So again, fortunate, everything just fell into place, and before I leave, she had my I-20. So now I go back and I say to my parents, okay, they say, well, you know, what are you gonna do? School is about to start, because back then it started in October. I said, well, as a matter of fact, I think I know where I'm gonna go. They said, oh, you do? I said, yes, I think I know. Here's what's happening. They look at me and go, what, are you crazy?
wow.
I said, we don't have money for this. And I think back then the tuition for the year was about $12,000. I said, we don't have money for this. My parents had not saved for it. It was not in the plan. If you go to Europe, you get a scholarship or something like that to allow you to go to those countries. Me coming to the US, 12 grand, keep as 5 of us.
Right.
So that's nuts. I said, you don't have to really do anything. I already have the money. And then I said, I have the money for a year and I have extra. All I need is for mom to continue just selling my goods to people. Just let me know when someone is coming to the US. I'll buy the goods, I'll go on weekend, give it to them, and then they can just deliver the goods. And I said, you know, all my customers, it was a handful of them, but I was selling electronics back then. So I went from hair and extension to cell phone, the flip phone, the start that, the fax machine.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was
hustling.
I was hustling, exactly. That was
hustling with the times, too.
Exactly. I was.
You were the first eBay.
In that country, for sure.
I got what you need. Here, fax, phone.
And that's it. And that was really the core of my business back then.
Wow.
And
because the folks in your home country didn't have access to the goods here?
Right.
Because no internet then and things like that. So you were kind of almost a transporter.
Exactly.
Logistics for
your
supplies or conveniences of modern life.
Exactly. And again, very, very limited because the visa was limited.
Right.
Not everybody could actually come to the U.S. And so if you do come, you have to have the eye and the connection and all that. So even though you have people with a lot of money over there, they didn't have access to
here.
To
So what about like you shipping back, all these hair supplies? Did the customs ever say, what's all this? And, this is not just personal use. This is, you got 20 things here.
Over there?
Like
custom over there or here?
Either one. Like, did they ever say, like, oh, are you
I didn't bring any goods here, but taking over there, you pay some fee for the custom
okay.
at the entry. So if they look at it, it's big. But again, extension, that's not a big deal.
Simple stuff.
Yeah, you get like 2 of them. But the big item was the cell phone.
Right.
And we couldn't really see that because it was in the palm of my hand. You know, you just put it in a little zip
True.
pocket, and you get 3 or 4 of those that just cover your expense for your
Your
first
trip.
quarter. Exactly. So I was making transaction like that, and that helped pay my tuition while I was here.
So now you're in school.
Yeah.
You're learning English.
Yeah.
Alan. How do you meet Alan?
I'm learning English, and now I'm bored out of my mind because I'm doing nothing. I can't work.
Okay.
So, and then Johnson & Wells, I didn't know how to swim.
And Alan, for the folks at home, not to interrupt you, is Bintou's husband and also the owner
Of Chatterton Insurance.
of Chatterton Insurance. Sorry.
Yes, that's all right. So Johnson & Wells had a swimming pool there, and I went, great, I would just go there and stand up and go like this. Oh my God, I wish I could swim. I wish I could swim. And I couldn't do anything. And then before I know it, they closed that swimming pool and put a gym in there.
I used to work in that gym.
At Johnson & Wells?
Yes.
Oh my God.
And people said, "Oh, this used to be a pool."
Yes.
And I said, "No way."
Yeah.
It was. It's on Pine Street, right?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
And we had a big problem with rats and with the toilets overflowing because I guess something with the pool being used to be there, it would cause problems.
Yes, it was a big
Some
pool.
small world.
Yes.
Wow. I worked there 2010 to 2013
Really?
in college.
In college?
That was
Oh
my job. It was $7.20 an hour.
No kidding. Yes, it would be well
But
there.
I would work out for free.
Okay.
And I would network and get to meet the people. So it was the best job you could ask for in college.
Right, but you know, you're sitting there at the desk, you get to do your homework and stuff, so it's not a top paid job, but again, for a student, it's ideal.
Correct.
It's
So
ideal for a student.
I'm sorry, you're swimming now, right?
No, I'm not swimming that pool, so they closed that pool. So then I go, and I talk to some other classmates, and they say, well, there's no other swimming pool directly in Providence, but the Providence YMCA has a swimming pool.
Ah, okay.
And I'm like, okay.
Up on Hope Street?
Up on Hope Street. I said, okay. And I live in Pawtucket. I'm like, oh, well, I could work on that. I could go check it out and see what they have to offer for me. And so they, you know, it was either you pay for an instructor or you do one-on-one. Of course, being on a limited budget, I had to do on my own.
Yeah.
So then I would go to a pool and then just go to just here or just to my chest because, again, there's no confidence at all in the water.
Yep.
And so I'll be going there with other swimmers, but Alan happened to notice me in the pool a few times, and his son also did. The son was at the time 4 years old, and he liked me. He would come. He was very outgoing kid. He all come to me.
How did he notice you in the pool? Was he like, you know, coming out of the water looking at you from the corner?
No,
or
he's
was he
sitting-
like,
he's
you know,
sitting-
sitting around?
Yeah, he's sitting on the
Okay.
thing there, and the kids are in the water playing, just like, you know, it's family time basically.
Gotcha. Because I've never met anybody in the pool. It's kind of funny. How are you?
So the son did the work for him.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
the son liked me, and then he came, he was jumping all over me in the pool and this and that. Then eventually he comes over, he said, you know, you don't do that, don't stop that, AJ.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, no, I don't mind, but just know that I can't swim to sit in the
I
pool.
can't say him or me.
I just can't swim. But the kid was a good swimmer, and then he was trying to show me off and all that, and it was fun. And then so we met several times at the pool there, and eventually one day he called me up, he said, would you like to go out for a drink? I'm just gonna drop my kids off at their mom's and come back. I said, oh no, thank you, I don't drink. He goes, you don't drink? I said, no, I don't drink. So I sensed like he was trying
To this day too?
Yes, to this day.
No drink.
No drink, yeah.
Not even wine or.
I would do wine on occasion while I was sitting over
Gotcha.
this garden and it's like that,
Oh.
but I'm not a drinker.
Gotcha.
So he goes, okay, well, maybe next time. He didn't push that first time. Then he came again and asked me again, we can just go to Tortilla Flats here. I'll buy you a Coke. I said, okay. But at the time I had my guards up.
Yeah.
A young girl, single.
Learning English still?
Learning English still. At that point, I could
Yeah.
speak for myself, but I was like, and he's got 2 kids. I don't want any problem. I just
Yeah.
want to get my degree. I don't want any problems. Like, and it's like, you know, he goes, I'm getting divorced. I'm officially separated. I said, I know you, but you know. Then he goes, just let's go for a drink, just a Coke. I really like you. So I said, okay, fine, let's go for a drink. And then he started asking me questions about my background. And then he gave me his phone number. And I took the phone number. I was polite.
Yeah.
And I didn't call him. And then I think a month or two later, this was in the summer of 2000. And he calls me again. He said, I give you my number. You never call me. I said, oh, I'm sorry. I lost your number.
Oh.
He goes, oh, okay. I'll call you again. Would you like to go out for an ice cream at some point? I said, well, I played a little game here again, and then he said, I'll call you back. I said, sure. And then he called another time, and I said, sure, come for ice cream. And my apartment was right here on Broadway.
Okay.
Allen's Avenue.
Come on.
No.
Allen's Avenue?
Allen's Avenue. Straight up here. Like you take exit 29, that first exit.
The irony.
The irony, exactly. So, and then he comes over and he said, let's go to Central Avenue, I'll get you some lemonade. So first of all, I said, okay, come into my apartment. He comes in and he goes, do you mind if I smoke? I go, sure, no problem, you can smoke. And then I opened the window because I couldn't stand the smoke.
You don't smoke either, right?
I don't. He goes, well, you could have just said no. I said, well, you're my guest, so
Yeah, being nice.
just do whatever you have to do, so it's okay. Then we go. He said, can we go for ice cream? I said, do you mind if we take my car? Again,
Yep.
the trust factor wasn't there. A single girl in an apartment all by myself, and
Yeah.
So we took my little, I had a Geo Metro back then. We took my car and then we went to get ice cream and we came back. He said, wow, I really would like to date you. To be sincere, I'm separated and there's no going back, and just the divorce should be finalized any moment now. I said, okay, that's all good. Well, you let me know when the divorce is final. If I'm free, great.
Yeah.
If I'm not free, it's not meant to be.
Yeah.
So, and then they went through, and I think his divorce was finalized in August of 2020. And we officially started dating in 2001,
Wow.
I should say.
So you're coming up on your 20-year anniversary.
That's correct, and I'm there. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
And when did you get involved with the insurance business? Because that's
That's exactly.
that doesn't sound like it was in your plans.
No, it was not. I'm
But
going
you're
there.
very good at it.
Absolutely.
You're an expert now.
Well, that comes back from in the business mind.
Yeah.
I went to Johnson & Wales, and you would have thought that I would go for a business major. I didn't go for that. I went for a computer science major. And so when I graduated from that, networking was my specialty.
Yep.
So then when I get out of that, and Alan goes, why don't you come and work for me? I say, heck no. I say, husband and wife, everybody says, don't ever do that. I say,
True.
just boyfriend and girlfriend then. I said, that's not gonna work out. He said, no, okay, so just do this. Come work and build my network, and then you can go after that.
Oh.
So it's like,
So just do a little bit.
Just a
help
little
me grow.
yeah,
And then you can.
and then you can go.
That worked out.
And that was the beginning of the end. So you just throw that there and then say, okay, well, now that nobody's here that can manage this thing. You design it, you build it, so you have to maintain it. So here I am, I'm saying, and I said, computer is my major. I don't know anything about insurance. Well, you can learn insurance in the process. And so, of course, the phone will ring. I will pick up the phone, and there was another lady in the office, but she had no computer experience whatsoever. She was doing everything in typewriter.
Gotcha.
I mean, when I joined his team, everything was typewriter, and we still have them in the office. And she would do invoicing and everything, typewriter, and the phone call comes, and then she'll take the notes and things like that. Everything was handwritten, and I said, ooh, I don't think I can work like that. And
Right.
so we started working with technology. I was training them, and eventually I found a position for you. You created a position for me, and I maintained a network and started to learn about insurance, and started slowly working on renewals, or what it entails. Once I understood that, and I started working on coding, and then once I got that down in every step, and eventually I got the full experience in graduating. But I joined the firm in 2002.
Gotcha.
So when I graduated, and The rest is history.
Literally.
Just say literally. That's exactly how it happened. And so I didn't continue with technology background because again, insurance took over.
Gotcha.
You get to do so many things, but I can still maintain stuff where issues here or I stay. I do the admin stuff in the office, just making sure that things are working properly. We have the right security system. I get to vet and get to talk because I understand the lingo a little bit compared to anybody else in the office.
Gotcha.
So that's how I got in the insurance. And you know, I think my business background as a young person, because I've always wanted to do business, just kind of took over.
Right.
Without me even planning on working on being in the insurance industry. It just took over and I'm enjoying it.
So Bintou, with insurance now with the coronavirus, I'm sure there's a lot of companies, a lot of landlords that are calling you saying, hey, I've lost rent, I've lost income,
Yes.
I've lost revenues.
Yes.
What are you saying? How do you handle all these kind of questions? Because most times it's not covered, right?
That's correct. That's not covered. So, you know, typically with their insurance policies, you have loss of rent in there, and that is already covered
From a disaster.
standpoint point of view.
Gotcha.
So in this case, they're out of luck. Basically, it's like just like you were renting your place to the client and they're not paying your rent. So that's basically what it is right now. It was the same case for business owners. You know, a lot of restaurants shut down because they couldn't collect their business income. And again, it's not a covered cause of loss. And I don't think the insurance industry will ever agree to that. There's a lot of people that fought for that, and they're not. You're not going to recuperate money for that, for the pandemic.
How many people are calling you with those, I guess you call them claims, like, hey, I'm losing.
Oh, at the beginning, we had a lot of phone calls.
So you have to sit down with them and talk, and
Over
I'm
the
sure they're
phone.
flipping out on you.
Fortunately, some of them didn't understand. I said, that is not a covered cause of loss.
Gotcha.
You know, I said, we've given you the best of the best, and there's no company that's ever going to pay out on this. It's just there. So they realized, because if one person had gotten a payout, it would have been a complete mess.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you bet you they would have come in and called you and cursed you out, and this, you gave me the wrong coverage. So they realized it was not just a wrong form, but this is just not a covered cause of loss.
So that's why the government stepped in and provided loans and the PPP program to kind of offset
some of that.
some of that.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And you know, I think for people that own the property, they'll be okay in the end. But again, if the tenants are not paying, that's a judgment call.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to do something about it eventually. Some of them have broken their lease and things like that. You're gonna have to take the right measure for that. But unfortunately, there's no insurance that you can buy that will cover for situations like this. No.
I have a couple tenants offhand that owe me. One lady owes me like $10,000.
Shoot.
Another guy owes $8,000, and that's a huge dent to
That
my
is.
income.
Absolutely.
And then I have to pay for the court. I have to pay for the attorney to go there, and then the constable to move them out. It's like that's just 1-2 tenants.
Yeah. How much would that cost you to do that?
Well,
Total.
just right there. I mean, the loss is $20,000 for those 2 people.
At their residential tenant, how long have they been there?
Right.
A year?
Well, one lady stopped paying exactly on February 1st.
Okay.
It's almost like she knew that this
Will
was going to
last.
happen.
Right.
And then the other guy stopped paying in, it was about June or July.
Wow.
And now we're going into February, and the courts are backed up, so you can't even get into court to remove them because there's a jam at the door. Everybody's trying to get in.
Wow.
So I'm lucky that I have other apartments to offset that loss.
That loss. But
it's-
you're never gonna get that money?
Just like you
Can
said.
you collect them? I mean, can you put in a collection against them?
Yeah, but you can't get blood from the stone.
Well,
It'll-
it may take some time, but they
It'll
might.
sit there.
Right.
If they ever go to maybe buy a house in 10 years or, you know, they have to pay off their judgments to get a loan.
Yeah.
But I'm not holding my breath.
Oh, those people, those are not good tenants at all. They're not kind of people. Anyway,
So
so
it's-
that's tough. Yes, that's tough.
And then you look at restaurants,
Yeah.
which I've interviewed a couple restaurants, and they have to close early. They can only have certain capacity.
Yeah.
What are you telling them? The same thing that you're telling the rental property owners, that it's not covered?
It's not covered. It is the same situation. It's not, no business is exempt for this. There is no coverage at all for this one. And there will not. Because this will collapse the insurance industry. If something
Right.
if a pandemic were to happen, it will not.
What changes do you see happening based on what's going on the last year to your industry? What major changes are insurance companies going to do or are doing already?
Right now, they're shifting heavily toward technology. Technology is what, like before, enabling your employees to work remotely was not
Right.
a possibility, but now we're all forced to embrace it. The virtual meeting, you're forced to embrace it.
Yep.
So everything used to be the in-person contact and things like that, and then you could have the video conferencing, you could have sent a video proposal and things. So it has shifted a lot. Yeah, yes.
Well, what about like policy specific things? Like I remember Allstate does my car insurance.
Yeah.
And I got like a refund from them for like $30 because they said, oh, you're not driving as much because you're home doing virtual work.
Yeah.
So they kind of did like a proration of their auto policies.
Right.
What do you see as far as that goes, like policy changes?
Well, we all know that a lot of people did get some money due to COVID through the different carriers, right, for auto insurance. And again, if you have, because they have driveways, you have driveways with them,
I
Allstate?
think so.
Yes, so driveways, they monitor that. So if they have the ability to, then you will get that benefit. But if they don't have the ability to monitor that, then you will continue to pay the same rate.
Gotcha.
Driveways has its potentials. I mean, good and bad. Some people want to do it, some don't, because they feel like they're being watched.
Yeah.
But again, that kind of that horse is out of the barn.
We're already being watched.
We're being watched no matter what. Exactly. So I think it's meant to encourage good driving behavior and then enable and reward the people with good driving history. So I think people should definitely embark in that journey if you want to save some money. But yeah, so a lot of companies are doing that. They just, I think Safeco also has a similar product. We all know Progressive had one also.
Yep.
So most carriers are doing things like that to try to offset the high expense.
So another question I had now that you're talking is, what is the most memorable claim, insurance claim that you've ever had that you're like, wow, I cannot believe this happened, how it happened, or kind of, the chain of events that will always stick out in your mind? And you don't have to name names or businesses, but just kind of tell us the, generic summary.
I want to say we're fortunate in this agency that we haven't had terrible or catastrophic loss. But we did have one, I want to say 15 years ago, with one of our clients where an employee of a company lost his fingertip at the elevator.
Really?
Yes. And that lien ended up settling for millions of dollars.
He was a worker?
He was a worker.
Gotcha.
Not an employee of a corporation, but a worker for I think a telephone company or a Verizon company,
Gotcha.
one of those things. And he was going in the elevator. I don't know how he got his finger caught in the elevator and he lost the tip of his finger.
Wow.
And the insurance ended up paying millions of dollars for that fingertip.
Wow.
So that was, yeah. That's one time I saw the umbrella policy kick in.
Yeah.
That's the one time I saw the umbrella policy kick in. You never want that to happen, but it did happen. But again, it was sad. It did happen.
How about house fires? Do you see a lot of house fires?
We do. Actually recently we just had one. Fortunately, no one died, no one got hurt, but one of the tenants in one of my insured apartment complex was doing fireworks on New Year's Eve. and took down the building.
Wow.
So 16 person are out of house now, they're displaced.
Pawtucket, Central Falls?
It's in Lincoln area.
Oh, Lincoln.
Yeah.
I think I saw that one on the news.
Yeah.
Summer Street.
Yes, that's correct.
Wow, that was for fireworks?
It's fireworks. Took that down. So one thing I would say, always make sure your tenants have insurance.
Interesting.
Make sure the tenants have insurance because, you know, this tenant this damage to this building, it's gonna cost them millions of dollars.
Yep.
And then, like you said, can't get blown out of stone, but if you have liability.
If the tenant had liability, so that's not gonna get covered on the homeowner's liability?
Well, he's got coverage,
Gotcha.
but
It's gonna hit him.
exactly, it's gonna hit him somewhat.
Gotcha.
It's not just gonna be, you know, all on you. He's got insurance for moments like this.
Yep.
But again, and also the tenants now, they don't have a place to go.
Right.
And you have to, sometime if you wanna be a good landlord, you just find a place for
Yep.
them to go stay at a hotel and things like that. Well, you don't wanna pay for that
Right?
insurance all along, so you encourage them to get their tenant insurance. Because something happened, they could go live in an apartment or wherever the insurance company will find a place for them to stay until they find a new place.
Wow.
That doesn't have to come out of your pocket.
And that's a situation where loss of rents actually comes into place.
Correct.
So for those at home that are losing money because of the coronavirus, not covered, but if your house burns down, like in this case, you're losing how many apartments in there?
16.
16 apartments.
Yes, monthly rents.
Lost rents, you know, those are maybe $800, $900 rents.
Probably more.
That's crazy. So how about this? When that property is, you know, condemned or they said nobody can live here, does the insurance company pay to have it rebuilt, or can the owner take the money and pay off the mortgage and just walk away? Like, how does that work out?
I think depending on the situation, it's possible to come to an agreement and then pay the mortgage and then decide not to rebuild.
Fix it.
To fix it, exactly. But I think in this case, the guy wants to rebuild.
Wow.
Yes.
So then how involved is the insurance company? Do they become like a project manager? Like finding contractors?
No, the insurer does all the work and they agree on the cost because you only have so much insurance.
Gotcha.
And so if, you know, you bring your proposal, the different bids, and if you agree with those, with the pricing with the insurance company, you can go ahead and you hire anyone you want, yes.
Gotcha.
And after completion of certain step, then they'll pay you. Because certain step they pay you. So yes, that's it.
Sounds like a big headache. If you're a landlord, you don't want to become a builder.
Yeah. But
Sell it. Or just walk away, you know?
yeah. But you know, this guy wants to rebuild, and it's probably going to be it's going to be a nicer building, you know, because it's going to be built to code.
Yeah.
It's going to be newer apartments, so may have a better quality
Yeah.
tenants in there too. So I think he sees a lot of potential in it, and he wants to redo it.
Awesome.
It's probably good experience for him.
So switching gears a little bit to Pawtucket here.
Yes.
All right. What's your hope for this year in Pawtucket? What do you see happening? You know, what's your, you're in a great spot here, by the way, right in the center. Will you be able to see the soccer stadium?
Supposedly, that's what I was gonna say.
That's
Everybody's
gonna be
talking
right
about
here.
that. Yeah, so this is a perfect spot. If it does come to fruition, we are all about it. We are excited. I mean, it's like
This is a great spot. If we
It
could
is.
show their location, 150 Main Street, right?
that's correct.
It's like right in the center. It couldn't be any more in the center of Pawtucket. The stadium would have been right in here. You could
In
have,
the background, yeah, I know. We'll be seeing the
we could have ate hot dogs in here and watched the game.
game. Yes. But yes, we are looking forward to it. There's a lot of positive vibes in the city of Pawtucket right now that this new stadium is coming. So it's that groundbreaking already out here. They're clearing land.
I see trees and dirt moving around, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, so if that comes to fruition, then Pawtucket is looking upward.
Yeah.
And I know the properties are also selling like hotcakes here now.
Wow.
So hopefully, you know, we've turned a corner. It's going to be something big and better than what it was in the past. So I'm excited though. I hope so. How about you? What do you think? What have you heard?
I don't really know. I've kind of lost hope. With the stadium leaving, I was like,
Yeah.
And then the soccer stadium coming, to me, it's another, you know, like you're on a hamster wheel,
Yeah.
and they put another piece of cheese in front
For
of you.
you, yeah.
And I don't feel, after being in Pawtucket now for 8 years, that really anything has happened of note. I see the train station finally
Happening.
happening, I see construction, I see sidewalks, but still, that could stop at any moment. That's just a sidewalk.
Yeah.
That's not a train with a conductor. So I'm not all the way lost hope, but I just feel like 8 years and we're still, wondering if something's coming.
Well, it's been 30-something years. I think it's
Even
been
more than, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think you are probably, you can only go so far down. So I think we've probably hit rock bottom.
True.
And that was probably coming slowly up. It's not going to happen, bingo. But again, if you're someone that's investing $400 million in Pawtucket, I think they have a pretty good business plan. And I think it's because $400 million is a lot of money
Yeah.
to be putting in. So I think if something positive will happen, within the next 3 to 5 years. Because it'll take a long time to build this and then see the traction actually picking up. There's a lot of movement in Pawtucket. I mean, I think we probably will see some upswing coming through. I mean, if there's no major financial issues that could hinder everything, but I think we will see Pawtucket going upward in the next 3 to 5 years. I really do believe that.
Awesome.
So I think it'll be a good thing. We need to see that. Every other city is going up. We just need to do something right.
Look at Providence. I mean,
Yeah.
from when you moved here in 2000, you've seen Providence transform, right?
Absolutely. Big time. And I must say, I love Providence when I came and visited the first time. I really did. And that's what made me decide to come here. It was not the life of a big city, but it was not the life of like a small town either.
Right.
It was just right in the middle. And that's what I liked about Rhode, and that's why I picked it. I went to Philadelphia. Drexel University was great, but just didn't feel the vibe. I came here, and the ride, the New England ride, and the bus was just very positive. I like this place.
Yep.
It was beautiful. I really, really love it.
So what advice would you give to other people that are immigrating to the United States that you wish you knew, back then that you know now, or you've come to realize?
I came with an objective in knowing what I want to do or what I want to accomplish. And I stuck to that. And I followed. I knew I wanted to get my degree within a certain time. I knew I wanted to do business. So I stuck to that and I just followed my path. And fortunately, I accomplished what I've accomplished so far. And this country, I cannot say how grateful I am. I don't have words for it. I really don't. This is the country of opportunity. This is a country, if you work and if you put your mind to it, you want to set your goal and objectives, you can achieve them.
Still today.
Still today, if you put your mind to it.
Is it harder today, you think, versus 20, 40?
I think it's even easier today because
Really?
back then it was very challenging for me. It was. Because again, I didn't have the right mentor. I didn't have mentors in front of me to help me navigate through the system. I just came and went to school and I had to be disciplined.
Yeah, you put your head down and you just
I just did it. Exactly. I just did it. And I was fortunate. I was really fortunate, but it was with hard work.
Yeah.
Because today I talked to my sister, I say, how did we make it? She said, well, it's not granted, it's all making the right decision and staying on task. I said, you're right. Because I told her, I said, I'm very grateful. She said, be grateful, but also acknowledge that the hard work that we put in.
It's not luck.
It's not luck.
Success is not luck.
You have to work, you have to research, you have to talk with people and investigate. You just don't do things, like follow the rules, follow the laws. And I am the country of opportunity. Things are changing. We will adapt. I hope for the best. We'll continue on the right path. I do believe that one thing make the U.S. stand out compared to the rest of the world. It was their fairness
Mm-hmm.
and allowing people to follow their dream.
Yes.
That has to stay. Because as long as people believe in that, there are those who want to achieve, who wants to become someone
Yes.
who are going to stay on that path.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you want a freebie, the freebie is only good for so long.
Right.
Nothing is free in life. One way or the other, you're going to end up paying for it. So
Yep.
I like to do my hard work ahead of time
Yeah.
and relax later.
Exactly.
I like to do my hard work. So,
But when do you relax? You're working 7 days a week.
well, that's the.
It's about to snow a foot outside, and you're here working before I came here.
Yes, that's the workaholic in me. I have to find a balance in that. It's not always easy, but I can't stay still.
Me too. I have that problem.
I can't stay still.
I can't watch a movie.
No.
I can't sit down and
Read a book.
read a book. I can exercise, or I can go, play pool or go see a show, but I can't just sit.
Yeah.
Or
I can't.
eat and just hang around. It's
That's not me.
couch
Exactly.
potato. Have never been my style.
That's not me. I'm up, and I'm up at 6:30. I get up and help my kids, get them out of the house, and then go to work.
Yep.
And I will go home, do the homework, then I'm in bed by midnight. And just get up again, do the same routine.
Yeah.
Weekends, running around with the family, doing, the sports and stuff like the grocery shopping, laundry and this and that, you put that all in there. Everybody asks me, when do you relax? I said, I don't know what relax is. Now, if I go on vacation, maybe I'll try to be relaxed. I'm trying to be lazy, but it's not me.
easy.
It's not
It's
easy.
hard to be lazy, isn't it?
It is. It's not
When
easy
you're-
for me.
When you're our style.
Yes. When you have this style, exactly. I just can't. My family members just look at me and say, when do you stop? All I know is go, go, go. And here I drive people crazy.
Yeah.
I'm multitasking. I think one person took a picture of me, one of my employees took a picture of me. I'm on this phone, 2 phones, yeah. And then they literally caught me. It's like I hang up one, I take another one, and it's just like, when do you stop? I'm like, hey, I'm here to solve people's problems. If I can, I'm happy to do it. You don't hide behind the phone. As long as that phone is ringing,
Yep.
business is coming through, and you want to
Absolutely.
keep your customers happy. So
And you
That's
can
what I like.
sleep when you're dead.
yes, absolutely. I put my 200% in this business. I really do. And thankfully, we are very blessed. It's going well so far. So it's just like you set small goals every year, and you keep achieving them and keep moving forward. So I'm very pleased, and I have great staff in the state.
Absolutely.
I do have great staff that support me. I don't achieve it alone. So if you're successful, it's because you have people supporting you.
Absolutely.
So I am grateful for that. So just want to acknowledge them too. So.
My final question for you was going to be, what should the folks at home know about you? But you just answered that.
Yes.
So my follow-up is, what advice do you have if you're starting a small business here in Rhode Island or Massachusetts or heck anywhere in the country? What advice do you have for them?
When you start, you have to be in 200% yourself. When you have a business, when you start a new business, you have to be 200% yourself and know every angle of your business. Because it's true that you need the people to make your business successful. But when you rely too much on people, your business gets hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing your business and being able to handle situation in times of crisis yourself can save you a lot of stressful moments instead of depending on people. So being 200% in your business, in your own business, you just don't open it and walk away and think like, I'm just gonna make a ton of money and walk away.
I'm going to pay and have
invest-
people and...
Yes. Invest yourself in it, knowing you can hire the people, but when there's crisis, be able to handle yourself.
Be accountable.
Be accountable, exactly. You gotta be a true leader.
Awesome.
Yes.
And if folks at home want to get in touch with you and your office, how should they do so?
Well, you can reach me at 401-722-6010 for all your insurance needs. We do commercial and personal insurance, all lines of business. And if you can't reach me on my direct line in the office, you can reach me on my cell phone, which is 401-996-0856. Like Craig just said, I work 7 days a week. Not 24/7, but I'm on the phone almost every day. So
And if she doesn't pick up,
I'll respond to you.
no, you can come here, knock on the door, and she'll probably be upstairs. You'll see the light on.
That's right. I'm always here.
Bintou, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
You're a great person, and thank you also to Alan for letting us come in and film. So once again, Greg Rice here from Nexus Property Management and Bintou Chatterton of Chatterton Insurance.
Thank you all.